Hi, bays out there in Bayland. Today is Tuesday. I believe it's 7:30, right? And it's time for Bayology, a real life study of love and relationships. Also, hit me up on my Facebook page, Bayology, Baeology, and you can also catch me on YouTube at Bayology Expert. Hi, Shabby. Hey, Earth. How's everybody doing tonight? Just gonna wait for some people to get into the room. I don't know about you guys, but I've been having between last week and this week, it's been a crazy week. Some good crazy, some bad crazy, but hey, Wendell, it's just been crazy. I don't know. It's like literally to the minute from the time 5 o'clock hit until now, I have been moving. I've been in motion, doing various different things. So it's been a lot of things on my list of things to do that I have had to get accomplished. And okay, maybe I shouldn't touch this. and not a lot of time. So with that being said, okay, I did my shout outs. I got my wine. This evening's topic is about staying in your lane. You know what? I can't handle not being able to see my face. So you may see the little table that I'm using to whatever. Okay, that's better. Not staying in your lane. Picking your battles. And I'll tell you guys a story. So this weekend, I was out and I was drinking, and I thought what I was doing was asking a simple question that probably had a simple answer. And like I said, I was drinking, and it just completely turned into a whole blow up out here. It was a whole complete blow up. It was while it was going on, I was just as shocked as I was just as shocked as the person on the receiving end at what was going down. And I was I'm really going in, and I'm really going hard right now. And it was a train wreck, and I just couldn't stop it. And it was so many different factors as to why my behavior was so off. Well, first of all, I had an off week. I just had an off week, period. And I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I usually do some type of morning mantra. I didn't do none of that week. It was just get it how you live, savage life, right? I try to set up my day with my intentions. I didn't do any of that whole week. So I go the whole week, and here it is. I'm having this major blow up or breakdown or whatever you want to call it. And first of all, my actions, my delivery of it was totally unwarranted. First of all. And so I had to look within, and that's what I've been doing this week so far. I had to look within and figure out really what was really the problem. And so while I may have had a valid concern, the delivery of that thing was crazy. And it was a human moment. And afterwards, I felt horrible. But at the same time, it was just okay, I'm a person Not everybody gets it right all the time, not even me. And I don't even want to try to get on here and perpetrate like I'm some type of perfection, because I'm not. I'm a work in progress. And so I was just like, okay, really getting down to the bottom of the situation. And it was the question that I had asked wasn't even really what the hell I wanted to know. Like, honestly, it wasn't even the real question. But I thought, in my mind, I thought I was doing something at the time. And in that moment, I chose to act a damn fool. And it was just so awful. It was awful. I felt horrible. So which brings me to today's topic, which is pick your battles. I feel like there are certain things that are important to you as a person that may not be important to your significant other. However, as an awesome person once said, if it's important to you, it's important to me, right? So ideally, you want to have that type of setup where if it's important to, your spouse or your bae, your significant other, then you make it important to you too. Thank you, Capricorn. You make it important to you too. And I've also tried to adopt that mantra as well. And so in remembering the million things and pet peeves that people have, your significant other have, I mean, it's not even a relationship thing. Like, picking your battles just goes, it's a person to person type of thing. Even with my son, I have to pick my battles or else I will be absolutely exhausted. I cannot just swoop in and mama bear on every single thing that he does. So if it's something that's real significant to me, that's when I step in. But other than that, I gotta pick and choose with him too. Because that's how you burn yourself out. Everything isn't an argument. Everything isn't a fight. Everything isn't a war. Because when you go in with that mentality, it's just like you're not even hearing or listen at that point. You're just trying to get your point across, and it may be something that's very important to you. And I want to get down, because I want to parallel this story with what it is that I'm saying. Like, it may be something that's very, very important to you. However, the delivery may be really funky. So I would say, before you act an ass, and in my case, I didn't evaluate anything that was going on. Before that blow up, I wasn't honest with myself about the things that were bothering me or something that had bothered me. I wasn't honest with myself to admit that, to even be able to bring that to the table in a constructive way. So that's the first thing you gotta do. Don't do what I did. Be honest with yourself about what's really bothering you. I've seen couples argue, or heard them arguing about the trash. And Kenneth, you're absolutely correct. Picking your battles does put you in control, because now you're in a place where you can decide to address it or not. It's not anything anybody's forcing you to do. But I've seen couples argue over the trash. Like, why haven't you taken the trash out, and blase, when really it has nothing to do with the damn trash. It has nothing to do with the trash, and it has everything to do with an underlying conversation, such as, maybe it's a support thing. Well, you see the trash is running over, babe. Why aren't you helping out around the house? Or why aren't you, taking actions and steps forward to support me? Or why aren't you taking any initiative when I need you to help me with things when you see a need for it? So there's so many different underlying conversations behind why you didn't take out the trash. You know what I'm saying? But as a people, we have to learn, myself included, how to first be honest about the very thing, like really getting to the bottom line of what it is that you want to address. Secondly, when you address it, right, Shabby, because you're perceptive enough to know that there's something else, and 9 times out of 10 there is something else. Secondly, once you get ready to address the situation, make sure you check your ego at the door. Like, in my case, I haven't really had a sit down about it. I will have a sit down about it, and I can tell you now, like, I have no problem whatsoever, like, tossing my ego to the side and saying, this is where I was at the time, or this is where I am. And, you know, just in an attempt for that person to understand what it is that I was trying to convey and where it was that I was coming from. Because at that point, you kind of want to sit in their chair. You want them to be able to sit in your chair, and you guys try to understand where each other is coming from. But before you even bring it to them, you have to, I want to say, you want to have a certain level of detachment from the situation. Because if you're not detached, or if you're still emotionally involved in what's going on, if it's still too sore of a situation for you, then you may not be able to talk about it constructively, and you might have a blow up, especially if that person that you're addressing things with knows your trigger points and it's feeling a certain type of way, you know, once you bring it up. And there's really no way of knowing that once you bring it up, but you know who you're dealing with. Like, you know. So, identify, went over that. Detach, we went over that. And then, like I said, try to see that person's point of view. Try to see that person's point of view. It's not about who's right. It's not about who's wrong. It's not about being right or, you know, that other person being wrong. It's really about, this is important for you. This is important enough for you to be able to share what's on your mind. And hopefully you're in a place with, you know, that person so where they can, you know, be receptive to what it is that you're saying. Now, if I know that I need to address something, but I know the person is not going to be receptive, I'm not going to address it. That's just me. And that's just my preference, because I don't believe in wasting energy. So it's just like, even if you know, and even if I tell you, if you're not receiving what it is that I'm saying, then we have nothing to really talk about. So, but like I said, that's just me. Afterwards, let it go. Let that shit go. It's like, you know, you can't keep like punishing yourself for it. You can't keep, you know, living in the past with it. If the person you're with keeps throwing it back in your face, then that may not be the person for you. However, I do realize that people move on at different points. So you have to give space. You have to give respect of space in that regard. But if they're not willing to move on, then you can see that within their actions and the words that they say, and you can kind of gauge whether or not you want to continue to deal with that at that point. Important nugget. I'm gonna give y'all a nugget. This is what gets on my nerves so bad. This is the shit I don't like. When somebody apologizes and they say, I'm sorry if I did X, Y, and Z. Now, I have gotten that type of apology from a whole host and assortment of people. And I'll tell you why it gets on my nerves. It gets on my nerves because obviously I'm bringing this to you because it did make me feel X, Y, and Z. my perception is my reality. So regardless of whether or not you knew that I felt a certain type of way, I feel that way, or I felt that way. I don't know what's the issue with I'm sorry for making you feel X, Y, and Z, or I apologize for making you feel, or I apologize for whatever that damn person say that you're doing. And sometimes you just have to give somebody an apology because they want it so they can just move on, set their asses free. Sometimes people need permission through apology to move the hell on. Just, if it means nothing to you, just give them what the hell they want. Or if it does mean something to you, do not say if I, because you did. It's like, it's not if you did, you definitely did. And that's why they're having an issue or a moment at that time. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Like I said, I wanted to, before I go to comments, I just wanted to share my story with you guys, because I am currently working on vulnerability. Vulnerability was not something that was taught to me. And when you are choosing your battles, or, you know, that also requires a level of vulnerability to be able to come to the table and say your words or your actions affect me in a way that X, Y, and Z. So, because that's letting someone know that you bothered. You were affected. And yeah, I was bothered. This weekend I was extremely bothered. And I had no idea. And like I said, I wasn't really honest with myself. And so I just let it just bubble over until it just became this huge explosion of unnecessary bullshit, if you will. But I'm working on vulnerability. So I said, let me go ahead and share my stories, just so my viewers don't think that I'm trying to portray this perfect image or this, you know, whatever. I'm human just like y'all. And even though sometimes I think I'm extraterrestrial, I do have moments where I'm like, okay, you're still having a human experience, girl. Like, reel it in and get your life. So that's why I just wanted to share that. So let me go ahead and go back through my comments. And big ups to my ride or dies. Like, I love y'all. Y'all are amazing. Irv says, don't go to war unless you can win. Well, to me, it's not even about winning. It's just a matter of really being able to convey your thoughts in a constructive manner. Oh, and I know the last thing I wanted to tell y'all. Once you disseminate that information, if it's coming from a real, true, authentic place, and this is a place of need for you to need to express yourself and what you need at that moment, and how to get into how to rectify the situation. If that person pop off on you, that has nothing to do with you. Period. You can't control how people process information from you. So even if you feel like you came correct and you did everything that you were supposed to do and you still get popped off on, that's their issue after that. They have to deal with that and process that shit however they want to. Now, you can choose to partake in that shit if you want to, or you can choose to say, okay, well, I'm just sharing my thoughts and feelings and this is how I feel, give it no energy and shut it down. So, after you bring it to someone's attention, their reaction is no longer your problem. Like, you're not telling this person because you're trying to, I don't know. It's just, that's how I feel. I feel like when I bring it to you, I'm going to bring it to you in a respectful manner. I'm going to bring it to you in a loving way, depending on who you are. And if if you pop off, or if that's your process popping off, then okay, I have nothing to do with that. Done. All right. And then, you know, after that, we can talk about it whenever you come down, you know. Shabby says, play it cool. Think before you act. Yeah. Except for when you're in a moment, right? And you have just a million and one things going on in your mind at one time. And before you know it, you just acting a damn fool. Again, thank you, Capricorn. So I went over Kenneth's comment. Shabby says, tell me what's really on your mind. Because like I said, you're perceptive enough to know that there's something else. Kenneth says, understanding how much you can and cannot take helps you learn. Well, also, you know, setting your criteria so that it doesn't get to the point where you're at a breaking point. That also, it's like it's a healthy boundary between you and whomever. So instead of you waiting until, you know, to find out whether or not you can take it, I would say go even further. And, you know, some people may call it cheeky. I don't care. And say what you will and will not accept. What's acceptable and not acceptable to you. So before it even gets to that point, you know, already shut the shit down. Case closed. Don't wait till you are drove, Irv says. So before that, ask or tell that person in a nice way. If you come wrong, trouble. Right. You have to come correct. And that can look a whole different types of ways to different people. It can look like it's in a loving manner. It can look like a respectable manner. However you do it, I say do it with love. Do it with love. You can't go wrong with that. I know that sounds like so flower power, whatever. You just can't go wrong. Wendell says, I'm here, start over. Just kidding. Wendell, what steps are you taking to overcome this, if you don't mind sharing? Like I said, this is a process for me. So this really was a lesson in honesty, and really being honest with myself, and really having that moment in the mirror. And because when I'm stressed out, I'm the last person to know. I just go until I can't go anymore, because things still have to be done. So I'm the last person to know, and I'm the last person to admit sometimes when I'm not capable of something, or that something is bothering me. However, in this particular instance, it was weird because I've done that whole approach before. So it's not like it's this pattern that I don't know, you know, when it's coming or when I need to address something. It was just in this particular instance, I was not honest. I wasn't honest. And so I'm going to address it in the conversation that I'm going to have. And I'm going to be honest. And I'm going to be honest about, you know, how I felt, where I was at the time, which, I mean, I was drinking. So half of that I actually don't really know. As far as just emotionally, I was all over the place. But honesty is the best policy. And I'm going to, again, apologize. Because I've apologized before, but I want to apologize face to face for my actions, because they were just unacceptable. And then moving forward, be sure to address it with the person. You know, it's like you kind of, I thought I was being I don't know what the hell I thought I was being. I was being dishonest as hell. That's what I was doing. I don't know. I just thought I was just, you know, whatever. I thought it was something that was insignificant until it actually came up and it came out and it just blew up. But yeah, I'm going to have an honest conversation, Wendell. Marcus, yes, apologies have to be very sincere and meaningful. We all mess up and make mistakes. Owning it should not make you less of a person. We are human if we fall and fail, no one is perfect. Apologies. Okay, my phone is doing something crazy, but really owning it actually gives you power as well. Because you recognize it, it's nothing that anybody can hold over you once you own something. And that's ownership of anything, whether it be an object, material things, object, or whether it be something that's intangible. Once you own it, nobody can really taunt you with it or hold it over your head, period. So yeah. And it's a part of honesty and really being honest with yourself. Shabby says, sometimes my cool demeanor is a setback. Why? Is it perceived as being nonchalant, like you don't care? How am I overcoming my vulnerability? Oh, so Wendell, you Barbara Walters tonight, huh? By doing this, by basically just by doing this, I realized that in my personal journey that if I don't share myself with others in a way that serves my spirit, then I'm the one that's coming up with the short end of the stick. Yeah, if I don't share myself with other people that's purposeful, and I can't say I've been doing that all my life. So I'm literally deconditioning myself to share myself and my thoughts and my feelings. I keep them very guarded. They are important to me. My thought process is literally, because I'm analytical, so my thought process is the key to me. If you can figure out how I think, then you can figure out my next move. You can figure out how to be 10 steps ahead of me if you can figure out my thought process. So really just getting to the point where I'm able to let that shit go and say, you know what? Yes, this is me. This is how I think. This is my thought process. If you want to take that standpoint of being 10 steps ahead of me or having a one up, then I shouldn't be dealing with you anyway. Period. So yeah, but doing this, being more personal with you guys and really sharing myself with the people that are purposed in my life for me to share myself with is how I'm going to get over this. Shabby says, yes, I knew it. Nonchalant, and I sometimes miss an opportunity to effectively communicate how I feel. What? Well, I think your perception may be that the opportunity is gone to express how you feel, but it's never really too late to express how you feel to someone that you that you love and you care about, that you cherish, whether it be whomever, like your spouse, a parent, a child. It doesn't really matter. I don't think you really missed the opportunity to really share that with someone. So I challenge you, Shabby, to go ahead and reevaluate some things and really share what it is that you need to share, because even though you may feel like you've missed that opportunity, it doesn't negate the fact that you still didn't share it, so they still don't know. So by you putting a timeline on it, yes, you have cut yourself off from sharing what it is that you need to share, but it still needs to be shared. You see what I'm saying? So that they know moving forward. So does anybody have anything else? Hi Tasha, I love you. Anybody else have anything else they want to share? Floyd Wendell, I'm sorry, I'm drinking this wine, I can't see straight. Should it be about picking your battles, or should everything be addressed if it can help relationships? You can't address everything. I mean, then it's just exhausting, and then you're burnt out. So then at the end of the day, you really got to check yourself, and you have to ask yourself, is this bothering me because it's some personal shit? Is this bothering me because it's my shit? Or is this really bothering me because it's a valid concern? Everything can't be a valid concern. Like everything. So I always ask myself that question, especially when I feel, because yes, I am Zen, but I'm also a person, and yeah. So I have a range of emotions just like everybody else does. I get angry too. So everything, and if it is, then somebody's not taking ownership of how they feel, and they're not taking ownership. If they feel like every single last thing has to be addressed, then somebody is not owning up to their shit. Period. Because no, and that's the art of choosing your battles, because you say, okay, is this my shit or is this a valid concern? If it's your shit, then you have two options.